Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. Today is October the 29th. I'm going to do your spiritual principle a day in a meditation. I hope that you're having a beautiful morning. If you need to reach me, do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and get into our meditation. Hopefully you can see that. October 29th. Let me move this thing out the way so I can see a bit better myself. Integrity through personal responsibility. Everyone makes mistakes. Promptly admitting when we are wrong shows integrity and responsibility for our actions. Living Clean, Chapter 6, Work. Perception is a funny thing. Self-centeredness shapes the way we experience our lives, magnifying our own wants and minimizing our responsibility and accountability. It can be like walking through a carnival funhouse filled with distorted mirrors or echo chambers. Our senses deceive us. We have a hard time perceiving reality for what it is, especially when it comes to responsibility for our lives and our actions. Checking our perspective with other addicts helps. Working the program, especially the daily inventory of step 10, helps us make our way through the funhouse of personal responsibility. As we come to terms with our powerlessness and unmanageability, we blame others less for the wreckage of our past. We begin taking personal responsibility. As we take inventory and ask for help letting go of our defects and shortcomings, we lose the need to make excuses for current actions and choices. We take responsibility for making past wrongs right, and we make a practice of checking our perceptions regularly. We shift our senses away from the carnival distortions and get a better perspective on ourselves and our lives. The steps help us get better and better at being the types of people we can be proud of being. When we make a wrong turn on our way through the funhouse and find a dead end, it doesn't do us much good to pretend we're not lost. We ask for direction and we backtrack if we have to. We make mistakes because we are human. We correct them because we have integrity. My disease distorts my view of myself and the world around me. I will use regular inventory to adjust my skewed perceptions so that I can find my way out of the madhouse of addiction. Powerful, isn't it? Such an amazing meditation. Integrity through personal responsibility. And you know what I really love about it is how they use the example of going through a fun house and having the mirage of the mirrors, right? The distorted mirrors where you think you're seeing one thing and you're seeing depths and different levels of your own self looking in one mirror. Or an echo chamber. You hear a sound, but it sounds like it's actually coming from the left, but it's coming from in front of you. We can create, and believe me, these distorted mirrors and echo chambers were created by people with imagination. And so, by the same token, our imagination can create all of this distortion. We can think we're headed one way and come to find out we're headed the wrong direction. And thank goodness for the people in recovery around us, because generally speaking, if they're close enough to us, they will say, "What are you doing? I thought you said that you were finished with this behavior. And the first thing you do when you get your money is you run out and do this. What are you doing?" right? Hopefully you have people in your life that will speak up to you. It's very important to be humble enough to listen to the people around you as they speak up, so that it can help you waste less time on your mistakes. Like it says here, if you are in a maze and you end up going taking a right turn and it leads you to a dead end, why would you stand there? No, you would say, okay, that was not the way to go, and you would backtrack and go the other direction in hopes that that would be the right direction. So our humanness is not, we can't avoid it. We are going to make mistakes, but hopefully we're not making the same mistakes over and over. Hopefully when we make one, we have integrity and we can say, you know what, that did not work. I am going to need to dust myself off and do something different. People that don't have integrity, they don't even have the ability to admit that they've made a mistake. And the problem is that they live in that world by themselves. Everyone else watching is able to say, this is not gonna end up good. This is not gonna end up good. When is he gonna wake up? And you can't say anything because they always get angry that anyone has the audacity to even mention to them that you're headed down the same wrong path again. You clearly don't see that this never worked for you before and is not going to work now. Why do you continue to do the same thing over and over and expect different results? But they always have it in their mind, if I do it different, if I just change a couple of things, it can work out. The name of the game has changed. The stakes are way higher. We got babies running around here with access to guns now. Their hands barely even have developed well enough to hold a gun, let alone fire a gun and aim it properly. Right? So, what are we talking about? A society where young people are able to get away with murder, literally. Mass shootings, traumatized families because their children are ODing on fentanyl. Fentanyl is in everything. Assume that it is. And the fact that you got 3 days clean makes your relapse that much more dangerous than ever before. Common sense. If you were using a certain amount of drugs at a certain point in time, when you stop using, you don't go back to the same amount that you were using when you stopped. You automatically, with this fentanyl, automatically you're looking at an OD. The stakes are much higher, much higher. Of all the times in the world, Narcotics Anonymous is more available than it has ever been. Thank goodness to the pandemic. It is more available now than it has ever been in all parts of the world. Parts of the world that don't even have literature, but they have a cell phone and a signal from a tower, living in a village, can get on an NA meeting. Yeah. So the stakes are higher, but the opportunity for recovery is also higher. My name is Mighty Stream. I want you to be integral today. Integral with your personal responsibility. You see, when you're making a mistake, you need to stop making that mistake. You need to stop the actions that are involved with that error and say, you know what? I made a mistake. That's where that step 10 comes in, people. I'm trying to tell you, it's very beneficial to have an understanding of the 12 steps in the traditions and the concepts, but the spiritual principles of all of them. They are similar in many, many ways. Similar in many, many ways. And applicable to every area of our lives if we choose to let them. And they can cause us to be freer in our day-to-day living because we are integral. Our disease, we know, tends to distort our view of ourselves and the world around us. But this is not a playhouse. This is not a mirror house. This is not an echo chamber. This is real life. And we have to be able to do a regular inventory about our skewed perceptions so that we can find our way out of this madhouse of addiction, this craziness. That even if you don't pick up the drug, you could be deeply embedded in the disease of addiction because of behaviors. That reminds me, an individual was talking to me and having like a debate about the terminology disease of addiction and how just using the term disease should make people more understanding of why they keep relapsing. No, it should make you understand why you keep relapsing. No one has to understand why you keep relapsing. No one has to make it easier for you to keep going back out. That's not our responsibility. It's our responsibility, your responsibility, to acknowledge that you have the disease of addiction. But it's treatable. It may not be curable, but I would almost beg to differ on that. It's probably considered incurable because it's mental, mostly. And we can't turn our brains off, but we can definitely retrain our thinking. See, the symptoms of it are what we see in our physicality, right? Physical, spiritual, right? It manifests itself mentally. It starts with our mind, actually, and how we perceive things. So it's a disease in every sense of it, but it is treatable and we have the medicine. There's no reason for anyone to have to continue to walk around in active addiction. Yeah. So we don't want to use that as an excuse. We want to be integral about our own personal responsibility for recovery. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I will be talking to you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day on purpose.